Hello, everybody. It is the American Doofus Show, live Sunday night, weekly wrap. Don't be a doofus. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. Thank you for watching Sunday Night Live, weekly wrap. What we do, we talk about what we've talked about the week before. We talk about what's coming in the week ahead. And this past week, we did Tuesday's open forum, a live show. We talked a little bit about um, Grandmaster Jay, and we talked a little bit about voodoo and juju, bad karma. Um, then also this past week, we had an excellent panel Friday night. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch that previous episode. Actually, due to processing, it came out Saturday morning, early Saturday morning. So take a look at that panel that had Comedic King, had Young City, it had T-Rex, and we had Angry Knuckles, all joining me on the panel, talking about equality and if that is even a possibility in today's society. So excellent panel. Go back and watch it. And we began the panel by a question about vaccines. And so I want to touch on that a little bit here at the very beginning. The New York Times, I get a thing sent to me as media from the New York Times every day, and I want to touch on it for just a second. The article says that there is vaccine alarmism, and it goes there are some things that are not 100% true or 100% false. There's some truth in it, but they get twisted into what's called vaccine alarmism. I'm talking about the coronavirus's vaccines aren't 100% effective. That vaccinated people can still be contagious. The virus variants may make everything worse, and your behavior cannot change once you get the shot. Even if you get the shot, your behavior can't change. And it says much of the message has some basis in truth, but it is fundamentally misleading. The evidence so far suggests that a full dose of the vaccine with the appropriate waiting period after the second shot effectively eliminates the risk of death from COVID-19. So basically what the article is saying is if you get the vaccination, the chance of dying is all but negated. And it suggests that it nearly eliminates the necessity of hospitalization, and it drastically reduces a person's ability to affect somebody else. And all of that is also true with the new variants. We hear a lot about the South American variant, about the UK variant, about the Brazilian variant. Well, there are 6 different United States variants. There are 6 different strains that have manifested here in our country because I believe the public wasn't led properly and informed properly from the beginning. And so many people are still not informed properly because their minds have been closed off to listening to anything other than one particular voice. Many people don't want to get the vaccine partially because it sounds ineffectual. About 1/3 of the members of the United States military have declined to get the vaccination. When shots first became available to Ohio nursing home workers, 60% said no. Some NBA stars are wary of appearing in public service ads encouraging the vaccination. Nationwide, nearly half of Americans would refuse a shot if offered one immediately. Vaccination skepticism is highest among Black and Hispanic people, among white people without a college degree, among registered Republicans, and among low-income households. Now, I put a call out on Friday for any medical professionals. I wanted to talk to them about the vaccine, and I had a text interview with a medical professional about this that saw Friday's episode, um, and I asked about the idea that it was being pushed upon Black and brown communities, as right off the bat they wanted them to try it first, um, and the response was, I know there has been discussion about offering it to the brown and Black communities because of the high infection and high mortality rate. I can understand why that could seem fishy, like, quote, let's experiment on them, quote. But if that were the case, what about all the first responders, the frontline workers who have taken the vaccine? Are we all drinking the same Kool-Aid? So a great point there. All of the and a lot of medical frontline workers are in minority communities, so they have taken the vaccine. And I asked, have you heard of anyone who has died because of taking the vaccine? No, I haven't, was the response, but that doesn't mean it hasn't happened, particularly if the person had an anaphylactic reaction and wasn't able to be resuscitated. Some people do get sick with the vaccine, not unlike some other vaccines. I said, when you say sick, what do you mean? How extreme? Fevers, chills, flu-like symptoms. And I said, what percentage would you think that would be that these things might happen to? And it's less than 10%, but I don't have any research to back that. It's just basic anecdotal. And I said, as for your personal experience with both of the vaccinations, my arm was a little sore with the first one. With the second one, it felt like I had received a tetanus shot. My arm was pretty sore for 3 or 4 days. I said, but it didn't impact diet or sense of smell or taste or any regular functions. Said the response was, no, I have not heard anyone have anything like that. If they did have issues, it was, again, the flu-like symptoms, achy, tired, fever, those kind of things. And how would you describe herd immunity? Because this is a term that we hear quite often. If we could just achieve herd immunity, then eventually we would be able to get back to a semblance of normalcy. Herd immunity is enough people having developed long-lasting immunity to the virus so that the spread is slowed. And I said, okay, let's say that 80% of Americans have the vaccine and therefore have long-lasting immunity. Does that mean the other 20% are now much more vulnerable because the virus has fewer hosts as potential breeding grounds? The response was no, because there isn't going to be as much spread once herd immunity is achieved. And I said, so it basically marginalizes the impact of those that don't get the vaccine as long as enough people get the vaccine to reach herd immunity. And the response was, if I understand what you mean by the first question, yes. But there has been mention that the U.S. may not ever achieve herd immunity. If there are millions of people who feel like those on Friday's episode, we won't achieve it. And my next question was, what do you say to those that say the politicians and the rich people are getting one vaccine that they know is going to work while everybody else may not get the same vaccine? And the response was, I don't know, Barry. I think no matter what would be said, the people who feel like that are going to hold on to that opinion. And I said, well, thank you for taking the time to be on the show and for giving me a great opening for tonight's live. And if you do indeed happen to be watching, you know who you are, and thank you very much for giving me the time and a great opening for tonight's live. In other national news, and again, I want to get some more experts on here. So if you are a medical expert, I'd like to have your opinion. I'd like to have you on the show, actually on the show, talking with me. Whether you support the idea of vaccinations or whether you oppose it, I'd like to have you on the show. I don't know if you've heard or not, but yesterday an airplane was taking off from Denver on its way to Hawaii. It was going to land in Honolulu, Hawaii, and it didn't get far off of the tarmac, off the runway outside of the airport until engine parts started falling off of it, and massive engine parts falling off into neighborhoods. And the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, is now saying that it's stepping up inspections of certain Boeing 777s and United Airlines, which was the airline that the incident happened, that owned the plane that it happened to, says it's going to drop 24 from its fleet immediately. That would be a grave concern if I was getting ready to partake in air travel, especially if I was, you got to thank, if you're one of those passengers, you've got to thank the glorious and gracious God above for allowing you to get back to the airport. If the parts would have started falling off of the engine when you're over the Pacific Ocean, you're in a whole different situation. So thankful that that's happened. And we have had 4 years where there has not been a lot of oversight on many things. And we could be at the beginning of seeing a repercussions from the lack of oversight in numerous ways that we have, we as a nation, we as a people have allowed to be. Well, we didn't have much of a choice once decisions were made. But anyway, there's been a lot of oversight over the past 4 years that has gone away, and we could suffer the consequences of that in numerous ways. One other thing I wanted to talk about on the national level was the Boogaloo Boys. Members of the Boogaloo Boys were in Atlanta, Georgia yesterday, and they were there protesting ICE, the immigration service, for locking up brown people. It was, pardon me, it was effectively called a Boogaloo Boy. Well, it was called an open carry rally against ICE in front of the Atlanta Immigration Court. So, and I recommend you go to News to Share, Ford Fisher's site, if you want to see video of that action. And also there were a couple of anti-fascist protesters alongside them that were not members of the Boogaloo Boys, and I wanted to make all that clear. A local thing from here in Indiana that you will not hear about nationally, let alone internationally. And I thank everybody that's watching, no matter where you're at. I know we got international viewers, and I absolutely am. I'm just honored to have the viewers that we have, and I thank you one and all. This story is out of Indiana, and again, you unless you're local here, you're not going to hear this story. Tensions flared at the Indiana State House Thursday when Republican lawmakers shouted down and booed black lawmakers during floor debate on a bill that some see as discriminatory. Representative Greg Porter, a Democrat of Indianapolis, walked off the House floor after several Republican lawmakers loudly objected to his warnings of discrimination in House Bill 1367. Porter, a member of the Black Caucus, said the bill would allow students in the St. Joseph's County Township to leave the South Bend community schools, which are racially diverse, and allow them to join a nearby school district that is smaller, more rural, and made up primarily of white students. Republicans deny the bill is discriminatory. The bill's author, Representative Jake Teshka, of a Republican out of South Bend, says it's really all about transportation. Teshka said many students in Green Township are already attending John Glenn schools, and allowing the area to de-annex from South Bend could resolve some more transportation issues. Porter walked off the House floor, overcome with emotion, and Representative Vernon Smith, a Democrat from Gary, reiterated concerns about discrimination and spoke about his own experiences facing discrimination as a black man, being pulled over for, quote, driving while black, end quote, and being denied access to certain places because of the color of his skin. He was met with boos. Boo is what I mean by boos. Numerous GOP lawmakers were actually going boo as he talked about the fact that he had experienced racism. That is Indiana's state legislature as it stands at the moment in 2021. Do we need to make changes in our society? If that doesn't speak volumes, what I just read to you, I don't know what might. So that's what's going on, what's coming up in the week ahead as we move forward with Sunday's weekly wrap is we're going to have an ERA panel again Wednesday evening. It's going to be EAR, End All Racism night on American Doofus Show. And it's going to be Ladies' Night. Marie Bruce, Marie Justice, and Starchild will be on. And we've got room for one more if another female would like to join the panel and come on and listen, learn, talk, and share. It's kind of what our panels are about. And I want to thank again the four gentlemen that joined the panel on Friday and reiterate, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. It was T-Rex, it was Young City, it was Angry Knuckles, and it was Comedic King and myself. And if you want to be a part of the show, if you'd like to be in an episode, if you've got something you'd like to share, like to say, by all means, contact me at americandoofus@gmail.com, and you just might find yourself on the show. Again, if you're a medical professional, we'd really like to have you on the show. So Tuesday night is Wednesday night's EAR. Tuesday night is going to be our night for live at 10 p.m. open forum. That's where talk about anything you want to talk about. We're not going to stay on topic like we normally do. If there's something you want to talk about and I know something about it, I'll talk about it. And we've talked about unidentified flying objects, and I had a couple of experiences. We talked about voodoo and juju, and I talked a little bit about New Orleans and some personal things. And this Tuesday night, we're going to talk about Bigfoot and some other things. I've been getting some emails and some puzzling emails, if you will, and I might just share one or two of those on Tuesday night, and then otherwise it'll be live, and we'll be talking about whatever you want to talk about. Then Friday night, I think I'm going to try to have another panel on Friday night, and then I'll either be on Thursday or Saturday. I'm not sure about those 2 days yet, and then take us back to Sunday in our weekly wrap. So, going to go over to the comments. Did I cover everything I needed to? I did. Go over the comments and say hello to everyone. Teresa Gibson, I see you up there. Belinda Morton, True Soldier. I'm not reading, I'm just running down names. Man Carter, I am created. Thank you all for commenting. Janice, Belinda. So, if you have any questions or comments or anything you want to want me to address, now's the time to get those out. One thing I do want to address from the comments from Friday's episode from the panel, somebody said that I was ignorant of Black history, that I didn't know anything about 40 acres and a mule, and that's not the case. That's not what I said I didn't know anything about. I was fully aware of the concept of 40 acres and a mule. And what's often left out, which was the most valuable thing at that particular time, was $100. Each person was supposed to get $100 cash, because quite honestly, without that $100 cash, if you didn't have a whole lot of ingenuity, chances are you're going to have to sell your mule to pay your property taxes, and then you're going to end up being indentured to your own property. Was how the system was basically set up to, if it would have worked, but it was never actually implemented, at least not on a wide enough scale. So I wanted to address that. Hi, Mama Rose. How are you? Peace and blessings to everybody out there. Love you all. I thank you all. I appreciate you all so very much. And we're doing this thing, EAR, End All Racism. And that's the main function. I was asked today what one of our main goals was, and I said one of our main initial goals is raising awareness. And despite the fact that people aren't aware of racism, they aren't aware that they have racist practices, racist tendencies, and believe it or not, we've got to raise awareness. And we've got to keep raising awareness and keep drawing attention to the fact that racism exists and it needs to be eradicated. Because if we don't, social issues get swept under the carpet, if not swept completely out of the place and out of conversations entirely. So having a movement and an organization that is constantly reiterating that focus is in my opinion, a necessity. Thank you, Mama Rose. Thank you for those kind words. Yes, Belinda, all is well. Good. I'm glad to hear all is well. They left the dollars out and most didn't get it. Yeah, no, most people did not get the reparations that were promised them at that time, because once Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, things turned dramatically towards the South. I am created. Love your panels. So informational. I agree totally with you. I love the panels too, and I learn something each and every time. And I mentioned that, somebody said that I didn't know about 40 acres and a mule, and I wanted to make it clear that I did. But I learned in that panel that I did not know that Native Americans held slaves. I had absolutely no idea Native Americans owned slaves. True Soldier, we'll get you in there next Sunday maybe. And we'll get you into the EAR meeting next Sunday, True Soldier, if we can make it work. And I might just, if we can get your phone working and get you on Zoom, if we do a panel Friday, I'd like to have you on there. No race wins the race in racism. Man Carter, you're exactly right. And that's another thing that I hadn't thought about that was in our panel the past Friday night. The word race is in itself a competitive word. Running against someone, a political race, a foot race, and using the term to define differences of pigment in people's skin automatically sets it up as a competitive situation. And I hadn't really thought about that until the panel the other night when it was brought up. So we need to start open membership and not just panels. Valinda, I'm working on that. I got to get a couple of upgrades done so that I've got the capacity to have open meetings and especially EAR stuff. And I'm also trying to get it figured out to where when we do have panels, we can do some live so that the viewers can ask questions and interact as we're doing them. Again, I got to do some upgrades, but I'm going to get there. Anybody else have anything you want to throw out there at me for Randy West streaming live? I'm not sure who Randy West is or if they're streaming live. So I did. Okay. Anybody have anything you'd like to toss out at me? I'll be back on here live Tuesday at 10 o'clock. And again, we're going to do Wednesday is going to be EAR night. It's going to be ladies' night. We're going to let the ladies talk about. They're going to talk about a couple of different things, including women's place in history when it comes to working for freedom for all people. So it'll be a good, excellent episode. And in my opinion, women are at the forefront of many and most social movements. And we've got 3 strong women at the front of our movement in EAR, and we're going to feature them Wednesday night, and I look forward to hearing from them. And again, we got a place for one other person, one other lady, if you'd like to come on to that panel. A couple more things here. Valinda Morton, they had slaves, but they let them free or became one of their tribe. They didn't see slavery as the colonists did. As for helping the upgrading, I hate asking for money. That was one of the reasons I wasn't as successful in politics as I could have been otherwise, because I hate asking for money. But I am going to do like probably a couple of shows that are nothing but fundraisers, just asking for help with what I'm trying to do here on the Doofus show, and then EAR, trying to get that launched as well. And Valinda, you're right. From what I'm learning, the Native Americans that owned slaves they treated them more as indentured servants and eventually lower members of their tribes, as compared to the chattel or animalistic type treatment of some of the more traditional slave owners. So from what I've learned. And one thing I've learned is I've got so much to learn. And when you're somebody that likes learning, that's a positive thing. Okay, True Soldier, email me, brother. I really didn't. I'm created. I really didn't understand race until I was way older. I was raised in a very holy home, so I thought people didn't like me because I love Jesus. I never thought it was because I was black. Go figure. Yeah, and it shouldn't be for either one. you know, um, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be for either one. And I'm not going to say being hated for one is worse than the other, because you shouldn't be hated for either one. And I'm sorry you experienced that, brother. Really am. Email is American Doofus, all one word, AmericanDufus, American Doofus at gmail.com. The real Jews are black and always will be. That is what this is all about in a nutshell. Jerome, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to have episodes on that coming up, and I'd really like to find somebody. Really, really deeply well versed in that, as far as being a scholar, and come on and talk about a possible stolen spirituality. I'm not sure the exact proper term, but the fact that that a lot of people have been run out of locations and have been displaced, forced to migrate because they didn't fit into a certain pattern of a certain faith as it was going to be portrayed. Okay, I don't want to talk too much about this because I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I don't want to say anything wrong, and I don't want to say anything offensive. So that's why I'm saying we're going to talk about this in the future. But I really want to have some people on that have knowledge of these kinds of things. I'm created. My apologies, sister. I apologize deeply. That was incredibly rude of me just to make an assumption, and I based it on the fact that mostly guys are on here talking at me. But I love you too. Thank you, and thank you for your understanding. Invite Caption General from ISUPK. I will look into that, Jerome. Caption General from, I don't have my pen, but I can find it in the comments here. Thank you very much. Did I see the interview with ISUPK and Proud Boys? No, I did not. I will go and check that out as well. So I thank you all. I'm going to get off of here. Been on here for a little over half an hour, and that's a good time. People watch. If it's a really good panel, people will watch for an hour and a half. It's just me on here talking. I feel like, the shorter the better. The more apt people are to maybe watch. Proud Boys, the police, True Soldier. Yeah, there's. I have a feeling we're going to find out a lot of. If we can get to a point where we can force and this is one of the things EAR was formed for, was every police department in the United States to have a complete review from top to bottom, independent review, not an internal investigation, but an independent review. I think we're going to find a lot of connections that people may not have imagined. Well, some people anyway may not have imagined existed. Um, I love you all, and I'm going to keep up the work. I really am. There's some haters out there that think I'm taking female hormones and I'm starting to look like Nancy Pelosi. But that's cool. Thank you for watching. Those that throw that stuff out there. I'm all right with it. I can take it. I've been told also I look more like Garth from Wayne's World. So party on, Garth. And I've heard Paul McCartney without my glasses, and I've also heard Doc from Back to the Future. So that's when the hair gets a little wild. But anyway, I love y'all. I thank y'all. We don't have to agree on everything, but as long as we got some love, there's a chance for light in the world. So try to be a light. The world is still very dark. We got March 4th coming up, and I haven't been talking about that a lot, and I may not this coming week, but towards the end of this coming week, chances are you're going to be hearing some things about March 4th. And again, I thank each and every one of you. Judas and the Black Messiah. Malcolm X died on this day. Peace be upon Malcolm X. Peace be upon everybody that has given their life in the pursuit of freedom for themselves and for others and for humanity. And my main goal as an older white dude is going to be to facilitate platform for people to say what they want and what they think. And when it comes to my black brothers and sisters, get the fuck out of the way and let them do what they do. And if that's wrong, I'll get corrected for it. I love you all. Thank you so very much. Nothing but peace and blessings, and be a light. Be a light in this dark world. All you got to do is love. Just give out some love. And again, I thank you. Please subscribe, like, share, comment if you're watching at a later time. And I thank you for that. And I thank you no matter where you're at. I've got Stephanie watches from India, got Jamaica and Africa and Australia and all the states in the United States. And man, it's a blessing, and it's all because of you that I'm allowed to do this. And I don't take that for granted, and I don't take it lightly. And I thank each and every one of you. And this is the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. I will be back. Going to take tomorrow off, and Tuesday be live at 10 o'clock for the open forum. Anything goes. And I look like Maury Povich. Thank you. I'm going to have to Google because I don't have a mental image in my head what Maury Povich looks like. But I thank you all, and I love you all. And it's the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. And until next time, I love you. Peace. Be strong. Stay alive. Stay alive. Come back again and be a light. I love you all.